God almighty. It is the Sweat Equity Podcast coming to you from Cigar City Studios in the Toco Works office in a fucking devil's asshole hot sun of summer. July in Tampa, Florida is pretty gross. I'm your host, Law Smith. This Sweat Equity Podcast episode's a little different. Sometimes, I don't know if y'all experience guy friends or just, it's not that he's a dude that we got set up to do this interview, but if you go back in some of the old episodes, Joe Sale, photographer, my go-to guy for work for my clients, recommended I talk to Matt Green. I was like, that's weird. We don't really know each other, but sure, why not? I looked at his stuff, which is BladeButter. Blade, if that sounds familiar, that's like that shaving oil. And we talk about how Dollar Shave Club may have ripped him off. So this was really interesting. It was one of those things where you feel awkward that you don't know someone and you're bringing them up and you're going to talk to him for an hour. And I probably was too spazzy during this interview to let him talk. So I've been getting feedback about that. If you like this, share with a friend, loved one, coworker. Just toss it over. Send them the link. We're trying to get good guests on. If you want to sponsor a guest, is that how you do it? If you want to recommend a guest that maybe is within your reach, hit me up. Email law@tocoworks.com, law@tocoworks, tocoworks.com. As always, we have a sponsor. It may not be a financial sponsor, but we're gonna represent BladeButter. Check it out, BladeButterbrand.com. Really interesting interview. And we could have gone on for 2 hours if I didn't have a cut out to a gig. So, without further ado, let's get weird with Matt Green and some BladeButter. 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 Yeah, I don't like doing like the bringing people in and kind of. I try to keep this conversation as kind of. And you could talk whenever you want, man. So,
I was just waiting for an opening.
No, it's my bad.
No, that's all right. Let's talk about shaving.
Yeah,
because that's what I'm doing right now. That's my side gig that makes me some pretty good money. Basically, I'll tell you the story of how I came about the product in a little bit. But
yes,
I have a natural product that I put through a special filtration process that helps your razor perform better and last up to 10 times longer, pretty much any razor. And then I just launched this new product that I've given you here. It's called ShaveJelly. It's an alternative to shave creams, shave gels, which tend to be toxic in nature.
Okay, so
have
like
a lot of chemicals,
like the old school barber saw, like the ones we all kind of. We think back at like what our dads use, basically. There's a whole new game out there of, hey, why you don't have to use that anymore. It's pretty accessible to get good stuff now.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great companies out there. You have the corporate giants that kind of rule the land, right? They have the big market share, and they've got the shaving creams, the shaving gels that I would say 90% of us buy.
Yeah.
Right? And what people don't realize is to preserve those products and to make them foam just right and to make them smell just right, they use a lot of toxic chemicals in there. And so now people are looking for all-natural alternatives. They're paraben-free. They're non-toxic to your skin, which, that's another thing about shaving is it's one of the most thoroughly abrasive things you can do to your skin. And it's almost like having a chemical peel that my wife would get down at the spa, but we're doing it on a regular basis. And so it really opens the pores. And so if you're putting toxic, possibly, dangerous chemicals on your skin, you're giving them a direct delivery system into your bloodstream, into your nervous system.
By shaving, you're opening yourself up.
You really are.
Okay.
You really are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask questions that don't have a question mark on the end. That there'll be statements just because I'm kind of running around today like crazy. But and so my thing is, what does toxic really mean? Like, that's kind of a term that you'll hear a yoga instructor use. You'll hear a nutritionist use. What does this mean in the shaving world? Like,
well, let me just cut it down to like a simple analogy.
Sure.
Would you rather put water on your face or gasoline?
Well, maybe if I was at Burning Man, probably gasoline. But
right.
But yeah,
unintentionally, yes.
Right.
But I mean, that's kind of what it gets down to. It's harmful if it's done on a routine basis, and shaving happens to be one of those things that you do on a routine basis.
Yeah.
I think a few years ago it was a big deal about what deodorant you were using, and the fact that women shave their armpits gave it a faster delivery system to possibly being linked to harmful diseases. But that's what I'm getting at. I'm just trying to offer better shaves, longer lasting razors with natural alternatives.
And how did this come about? So this podcast really, I want to talk about this stuff, but this podcast is really about I read your bio, and it's really about you going from farm towns in Illinois.
Right, I grew up on a horse farm in the west suburbs of Chicago.
From there, wanting to be an entrepreneur in this direction, and you said this is kind of a side hustle, so it's kind of like. But I feel like a lot of people that listen, a lot of people that I'm 32, and I feel like, give or take 5 years older or younger, I feel like everybody's having to have a side hustle, and it might not even be an age thing. It might just be anybody in the professional world now, kind of can't just rely on that one job. For me, it was always don't hedge your bets. Like
exactly.
I want a backup plan at all times.
Yeah. So I went to school in Illinois State University, go Redbirds.
Okay.
And then graduated, and the economy wasn't so great up there, so they weren't hiring. I was a PR major. I avoided math as much as possible.
Okay.
So as a PR major, couldn't get any jobs in PR in Chicago, which is ridiculous, right? So my mom had moved down here about a year earlier. I came down for a visit, and so I was a year out of college. And she said, "Why don't you just try and find a job down here?" And I found one like that.
In Tampa?
It was in over in Clearwater at Valpak.
Okay.
The blue envelope people that annoy the heck out of you. They send you stuff every month. But
always good stuff. Always helpful stuff.
I mean, some of the stuff in there is really funny now. But and we had a lot of fun with that. But what companies like that did here, and there weren't a lot of great companies back then. It was like the mid-'90s, and what they did was they trained me really well on graphic design, layout programs, finished product. Then they moved me into sales. So these were the things that were building the base for me to be an entrepreneur. I always knew that I wanted to do my own thing. Always. I was always doing something to kind of get to the next level kind of thing. So, I mean, my advice to anybody out there is just take what you're doing now and try to parlay that into something else down the line. Don't think it's going to last forever.
Well, okay, that's a very good kind of point, because I've been talking about this with a lot of people, and I go, look, every business has an exit plan, and maybe it's Hershey's and it goes on for 100 years or more, but every business has an exit plan. Every employee you hire should have an exit plan. A lot of people don't think about that, and a lot of people don't think about contingency and a lot of those things. And your perspective that way, I agree with 100%. Don't think this is this idea is good, but it shouldn't surround your whole life. Don't attach everything to you about it. Because at the same time, like, if you go, this is all I got, this is all I'm doing, you know, you might miss opportunity philosophically to like look at something else and then apply that to your business. And I've been talking with a lot of people who don't really think in that aspect on the way in. You should think of that on the way in. Everything has an exit. I know that's a little bit morbid and more of like
no, I totally agree
bummer.
with you. And my other advice on that along the same lines is don't burn any bridges. All those people, you know, when you start out, all those people that you're sitting around are going to move their way up a system too.
Yeah.
And they could be in a position to help out. And that's kind of where I'm at now. You know, I mean, I have the marketing firm, and then I have this product line of shaving products, and I don't go out and actively look for marketing work. It comes to me through referrals.
Right.
So, you know, that's the thing you got to learn when you're first starting out is, you know, try not to burn bridges. I mean, sometimes you just got to burn it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just somebody that you can't stand and whatever, but try your best to not burn bridges because it can come back and pay off. I probably have, you know, I went from Valpak to, I worked at Eckerd College, then I worked for the PGA Tour, I worked for Deloitte and Touche, I worked for a couple other nice companies in the area, and then I worked for Bic, the big pen maker. In Clearwater, they do it's like a $500 million arm of their business that does imprinting on pens, lighters. They bought Everready and all these other things. So they do flashlights and all this other stuff. So all these places that I learned kind of culminated into what I can do today. The big break came when I met the founder of Worldwide Sport Nutrition, protein and nutrition things. I actually got an offer for another job, and his job interested me so much because he said, not only do you get to do the marketing, I'm going to teach you how to make products, and I'm going to teach you how to, you know, come up with something in your head, and 2 months later, it's going to be an actual product selling there.
This wasn't meth.
GNC.
This wasn't like
no, not meth. No.
This isn't
this
Heisenberg.
This wasn't
He's
Heisenberg.
like, hey,
no,
let me show you.
Walter White. No, it was really cool.
Look, in Florida, you know, that could be every fourth kind of opportunity like that.
Hey, trust me, when things
This
got
is
low,
super
I
protein.
thought about that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought about, you know, you got to do what you got to do, right? I'm not going to knock the people that are trying to get by and maybe push a little meth here and there, but no, but
you did do PR.
Yeah, exactly. I got to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those were great experiences, but that was the one that really fed what I like to do. And so we did protein bars, protein shakes. You know, we're launching them at huge trade shows. We're dealing with Walmarts, Targets, Walgreens, CVS, all that stuff. And that's kind of what I want to do with this product. I just know it takes a lot more money to do it right. And so I'm kind of on the fence. I make good money selling shaving products directly to my customers, and I have great customers that, you know, repeat customers. I don't have any subscription service, but they constantly reorder from me, which is great. Though I have to think about the service. But anyway, the ShaveJelly and the BladeButter Razor Booster do good work for me. I'd love to expand that line and only do that stuff, only do the marketing for that. But I have such great marketing clients. I still like to do that.
Sure, and it keeps that consistency, probably income-wise. While this is maybe a startup, or it's been going on for a few years, but it's still considered. It's tough to put all your eggs in that basket, you know, financially when you're competing on two separate. You have two different kinds of competitors. You have the Gillette, you know, the Gillette Barbasol kind of huge legacy companies, and then you have like Harry's. You've got Dollar Shave Club. And that's kind of more in your wheelhouse. Am I in the ballpark? Or?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I'm a member of Dollar Shave Club. I think they do a great job. What people don't realize is they can actually just buy the same razors directly from the manufacturer that makes them for Dollar Shave Club. Yep. It's called Dorco USA. It's just what Dollar Shave Club excels at is, well, they have ancillary products now, too. They have a shave butter, which is an interesting story because they actually lifted the name from my BladeButter product. And yeah, honestly, my PR guy, Joe, had sent them, he thought it was in our best interest, he didn't tell me, to say, hey, let's see if they want to sell this product for you. But the reality is my product creates less razor sales because it makes your razor last up to 10 times longer. And so 3 months after he made contact with them, they then trademarked the name ShaveButter. And my trademark is BladeButter. So I don't know if there's something in the future that I can, go after them on.
The timeline syncs, though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually a member of theirs. I love their product. I love their customer service. I love their whole system. It's very, very friendly. You can quit it at any time. It warns you before it's going to charge your credit card. And the product itself is pretty good. And so I actually tried their shave butter, and I really liked it. But I said, you know what, I can make something better. So I made ShaveJelly, and that my trademark's pending on that as we speak. But anyway, it's an interesting thing, and I can do well just selling directly to consumers. I'd love to make that jump to retailers at some point, and they're all aware of me. I've met with Walgreens and all that. I went to great trade shows, and I have good broker connections from my old jobs. And
yeah, what I wanted to ask, because my wife and I love watching Shark Tank kind of obsessively. It'll kind of be on as like, because CNBC will just play the shit out of it. And I didn't really start watching a whole lot of it until probably lately. So all these are new, all the episodes for me. And so my thing with that is a lot of the stuff that has like licensing value, where they need the investment to get licensing. Mr. Wonderful is always that's his wheelhouse. I always wonder about that part. How do you get from, without maybe one of those sharks, how do you get from there, from like having this good product to going, hey, we should be in these big box stores. What's going on? And you're saying trade shows might be the cheat code?
For us, it was the NACDS, which is the National Association of Chain Drug Stores. We went to a show up in Boston, which was awesome. We actually went to a Red Sox game. They weren't playing the Rays, but we wore our Rays gear, and we did not get beat up.
Okay.
So that was
good
pretty
to know.
Cool. Though, interestingly enough.
That means they're like just indifferent, which is kind of worse.
Right. I think they were terrible that year.
Okay.
This was like a year and a half ago, but interestingly enough, we were on the Green Monster, and a home run was coming our way, and a guy did deck me out of the way to get the ball. So I don't know, maybe I did
classy
get beat up
place.
A little bit. Yeah. like the kindness only goes so far. But
right.
No, I can't say enough about Boston. Great town, great area, great fans.
There you are, PR in it. You can't.
I need to sell product there, right? I mean, I can't kill my markets.
Yeah. A lot of hairy Irish guys. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's a great. What's really interesting about that trade show, and if people have a product out there that you want to be sold in Walgreens or CVS or any other chain drugstore, before the show even starts, it's like speed dating.
Yeah.
They sign these. It's a schedule for a one-day thing. You get 10 minutes in front of each category manager or buyer, and so it really is like speed dating, because there's tables set up in this huge long room, right? And there's numbers on the table, and that's where the brokers or the buyers sit at their number the whole time. So you could be at 1 for the first 10 minutes, and then you have 5 minutes to get 2 miles down the way.
Oh.
So you're scrambling, you're sweating, you're kind of throwing yourself into the seat and trying to get your stuff out there without looking all discombobulated. But anyway, that's a great thing that NACDS does. The only problem is it's very expensive to go to the show. It probably cost me about $15,000. I actually spread the cost over with another company that was going there, and so it worked out. It worked out good. I mean, everybody knows
trade shows are crazy, man. Like, there's so much, because all these companies have to spend so much money to do the trade shows. It's like such a racket, because it's always at like a union spot, and then like you can't get electricity. You have to get some asshole to come over and like plug it in for you, and you're like, what? Why did I do that? And the Freeman company owns everything, and you gotta
Freeman.
Then
everywhere.
when you do it on the cheap, you have to like, all right, we got to make a trade show. We have the smallest place we can get there, but we got a corner. So that's good. And then you got to figure out a trade show set that like, there's no cheap trade show. like it's a whole
You
fucking
can't-
industry that's
you
insane.
cannot have just the table without the bunting and a couple chairs. You got to have something that piques somebody's interest, right?
And I'm sure with that situation, like I used to work for an air purifier company, and I had to go to fucking allergist conventions. Talk about a party. But it's like, we can't show up and just have the air purifier on next to us. We have to look like, we're bigger than we are. And so like, but we had to make our own trade show set that was light and that we could assemble ourselves, but you can't get in there to assemble it the day before because you didn't pay the extra fee or whatever it was. And so it's like you're in a suit and you're scrambling to construct or assemble your fucking trade show set, and then you sweat through that, and then you're like, cool, well, you have like 38 minutes to do it, and then the doors are open. I just wanted to bitch about this for a minute because I haven't been able to talk about it, and you just kind of you triggered something when I'm thinking about it. It's like went to allergist convention, a cigar convention, which
is the anti-allergists, right?
Basically. So this company, I think I can legally talk about working for them. Yeah, I think I can. So Rabbit Air, they wanted me to get in the cigar division because they would be the only air purifier really looking at that market. Got them in like Cigar Aficionado and all this shit. But I had to go to all the cigar conventions, and it was like, oh, I just decreased like 10 years off my life by being like, even I'm around the air purifier, but I feel like shit. Like you feel so gross in those things. So trade shows are weird, man. It's
well, I mean, you're right about the Freeman and all that. I mean, there's hilarious stories of them putting the pallet right in the middle of the trade booth on the carpet, but we're not using the carpet, so can somebody please come move the pallet? Well, okay, you got to call 5 union guys. Well, no, let's just move it ourselves. No, you can't do that. That's illegal. We have to move it. And it's going to cost you $100.
What about when the thing's done? The thing's done. You have like 8 seconds to pick up because they're already rolling the carpet up, and you're like, dude, what the like? Give me like a couple of minutes. It's much easier to break down than put up, but like I'm going to need like 15 minutes. Is that okay? It'll be like, all right, trade show ends at 4:30, and there's already Teamsters like rolling carpets. There's forklifts coming through, and you're like, is this okay? I get it. Like you're when it comes to like the incentive of the trade show people, then you'll get it done. But when it comes to the people that are renting the real estate for the day, doesn't matter. They don't care.
Actually, let me tell you some good stories about trade shows, though. In the industry for protein and nutrition, we have drinks that are sold in convenience stores and things like that. And the NACS, the NACS, it's NACS Online.
There's always an acronym, too.
Always an acronym.
Right.
Always an acronym. And I forgot how they started, but they were petroleum something, whatever, and then they figured out NACS, what's much more sweet sounding.
Petroleum jelly, dare I ask?
It's like oil and gas and but,
okay.
Convenience stores happen to take off at some point, so they figured it out. So I think they were CSP or something like that, something petroleum. But anyway, those shows are really fun because you're seeing all the big brands there, the Pepsis, the Cokes, the Monster Energy, all that stuff. They have big, crazy booths and Jack Link's jerky and all that. And then so when everything shuts down, all these guys don't want to take that stuff back. So they're just giving it away to all the other exhibitors, and you just get huge bags of stuff, and you head out of there. You can't take it all on the plane, so, you just sometimes ship some back.
Get super
put
jacked
it in
up.
your stuff that's going back on the pallet.
Like, how much is a case of Monster canteens to ship home?
Right.
I really want to look like I'm into BMX.
It's like, I got them for free, but I'll pay $300 to get them back home, right?
Yeah. I mean... But it's like a necessary evil because it is that bridge to get you in front of people, like you're saying, and it feels like a big gamble when you're a small business because you're like $15,000, even if you chop it up with someone else, which a lot of people do. They'll be like, "Hey, let's share this 10 by 10 spot."
Absolutely.
And we won't get in each other's way because it's so expensive, and you're not even talking about travel too. You got to have people there, and then you got to be on your game too. So if you're sick, you're screwed. Like if you're not having it, like you're totally screwed. So there's a lot of like pressure when you're at these things, especially when it's that situation you were just talking about, where you're like, okay, well, we're spending a good chunk of money on this, and I know the product's good. I believe in it. Now I have to really figure out how to tell them why they need it.
Well, and if you do your job right, and I've seen it many, many times with Worldwide and Strength Systems and Nutrition Research Group, if you do it right, the sales that you get from that bump in sales you get from that show just totally eclipses anything that it cost you.
Huh.
And I mean, I'm talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of orders after that. I mean, we used to launch new protein bar, new protein cookie, new protein shake at these shows. Specifically the Mr. Olympia show, which was in Las Vegas in October-ish, and then the Arnold Classic, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I know all these by heart. No,
okay,
I'm kidding. I don't know.
Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic.
It's a weird community, man. Those bodybuilder things are like.
What's interesting is
strange.
He chose. It's in Ohio, and I can't remember the town. It's by Ohio State, and it's a great show. I mean, you get to meet Arnold, which is the biggest bonus. He comes walking through every booth, shakes everybody's hands, and all this. But it's a big sports convention / products convention.
Okay,
so
that
I
makes
think,
sense.
I'm a huge UFC fan and stuff. Now they have a turn. They'll have a night of fights there.
Yeah.
Specifically for that week, and Columbus. It's in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Usually first week of March.
So we're gonna record this on we're recording this on a Friday. This will come out on Tuesday, the following Tuesday. But UFC 200 Saturday.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
John.
Silva's in, right?
Silva's in, which is I think is an interesting fight. I would say normally he might not have a chance. Watching his last couple fights, he seems a little bit behind the times. But the reality is that Cormier didn't have a big opportunity to prepare specifically for him. Okay. So maybe that gives Silva a shot, and the other thing is, has Silva been training for a 5-round fight? I don't know. I don't know what his rotation was up, and I don't know who he was scheduled to fight recently. And we could talk MMA.
I don't know that much. This is about where I'm like,
to answer your question, I'm 50-50. When I found out Jones wasn't going to be on the card and Cormier wasn't going to fight, I was like, because I'm a John Jones fan, I not of his behavior out of the octagon.
He's like one of the best athletes of all time. Like
unreal talent.
And his thing is, and you see this with small business owners and entrepreneurs, they're self-destructive.
Exactly.
A lot of the time it can be ego or greed, but for him it's it's getting crunk.
Right.
In a couple of different ways.
Well, that's what's surprising about this. And just to go back to the business side of protein and nutrition, it's very easily that he got an ingredient in his protein products or whatever supplements he's taking that aren't on the label. And what happens is 90% of those companies do not own the manufacturing equipment and make their own products. They go through contract manufacturers. To make it attractive price-wise to go with that contract manufacturer, they cut costs, and those costs mean getting ingredients from China, which always have something different than them, than what's stated. I mean, we had baby formula a few years ago was a big thing. They had actual auto coolant, car coolant in the baby formula, those types of things. So it's very easy.
Calm down, babies.
That he got popped because of an adulterated version of a product that doesn't have.
What is it? What do you get popped for?
He can't even pronounce it, so it's something that's probably a steroid, is my guess. And but it's easily that the brand doesn't even know it's in there because their contract manufacturer used something cheap from China. That
they're like, we banned Chinese drywall. Are you eating Chinese drywall? He's like, I don't know. But like So let's take you back. You're at the fitness convention, or you're at the Boston Drug. What is it?
Chain drugstore convention,
which is just Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, and CVS.
CVS, Walgreens, all the big players. But really, what we were going for are the medium level guys that have 30 stores to 150 stores because they pay you up front. The big guys, they pay you on net terms. So you take on all the risk. You put the product out there. You have to advertise and make sure people are walking through the door because they're kind of testing you.
Yeah.
And if you pass the test, then you get the reward. Most companies don't.
They have that demand.
So I know
they can control that.
Realistically, if I wanted my shaving products in Walgreens, I probably need to spend about $400,000 to make sure that it goes correctly.
Yeah.
Now, the reward is that I probably get, if I satisfied all their requirements, they call them thresholds. They put me on like a $3,500 or 3,500 store test. And then if I hit a certain threshold within 4 weeks, then they order for every store, which is over 7,700 stores Walgreens has nationwide. And it's probably 6 units per store. And so you can see how that can add up very quickly, and that can be very nice. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you have to have a good manufacturer of your products because they can come back if there's anything wrong with them. And so it's a lot of risks to people.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, there's companies in the nutrition industry like Zenadrin. Remember, big name for pills that you pop, whatever. Well, they were 11
diet
people
pills, the Jesse Spano
running the company.
Yeah.
And they were $60 million every year. They made $60 million every year.
I think
So
I
if you
took
do it
those for a
right-
day and wanted to I was like, this is not, my heart is, I'm going to have a heart attack at 15 or something like
Right.
that. I remember taking them. I'm like, no, this is no good.
Yeah, and that's really how they have kind of fizzled out now because of so many lawsuits. But that's the other thing. You have to carry insurance to,
Sure.
at a certain level for all these companies to do business with you. And so hopefully you're doing the right thing. You're not going to have those things happen. But if they do, you're covered
Right.
somehow.
So you're there, you're hustling on this trade show. And so how does that go?
Oh, it goes terrific. I actually have Schick, the razor maker, come over to me, one of the executives over there, and he goes, "I'm not going to like you, am I?" And I'm like, "No, you're probably not," because you can see this big sign that says, "I'm going to make your razor last 10 times longer." And he's like, "It's to the point where we want people to open the package of razors and break like 2 of them, so they have to buy more."
Yeah.
I mean, he's just being honest, right? They just want to sell razors. It's not about the highest quality sometimes.
How did they not see this ahead of time? That they're
Right.
every guy has bitched about razors as long as I can remember, and that's I'm 32, so there's not like it's a lot of. I have a lot of sample size on that kind of people bitching about it, but I feel like the razor game's been pretty greedy for a while, and never improving it never helped. They probably could have figured out how to. I don't know. They're starting to combat their own Dollar Shave Club kind of stuff.
Well, and that's the interesting point. I mean, they saw all of a sudden I think they're the bullies, right? They want to put people out of business that threaten them, and that's why they're actually suing Dollar Shave Club because of the protectant that's put over the blade.
Mm-hmm.
So and then it goes into packaging. Right?
Yeah.
So this protectant keeps it from oxidizing or rusting while it's sitting on the shelf, waiting to be sold or be moved around the country or get to the end user. So Gillette has sued them, saying that violated their patent on a similar process. And so, whether they're right or whether they're wrong, now the Dollar Shave Club has to spend X amount of dollars to defend themselves and say, and I don't even know what their position is because their manufacturer is Dorco. So,
Right.
So is it Dorco's problem or is it Dollar Shave Club? The lawsuit says versus Dollar Shave Club. But, and the other thing is that we went to that trade show and it was a warm reception, but not really hot leads on selling directly to retailers because they say, why do I want to beat up my razor aisle? I make good money off of that. Well, a few months later is when Gillette announced that they were going to go after Dollar Shave Club. Now they've cut Walgreens out of the mix. They've cut, they tried to enter them in where when you order through Gillette, you could say, "Oh, I want Walgreens to fulfill it for me," but why wouldn't you just buy direct from Gillette? It's the top button. It's already checked. And but so long story short,
And they're in a
after
fucking
that,
case now.
Walgreens calls me and says, "Hey, we're now interested in carrying your product."
Yeah.
And that was a direct reason why they need to find ways. And then I found out through that process that they really don't make that much money. The margins on razors for Walgreens are not that attractive because they're so expensive in the beginning. And they're so expensive that now you go to the store and they're in these security cases.
What is that? Like who's like grifting razors to sell in the black market? Like I don't get that. Sure, like okay, I get it because they're expensive to buy, but it's like who's stealing these to flip around and go, oh, what's up?
I have never been approached on the street and say, hey, dude.
Hey, man.
Hey,
Right.
Look at this.
Right.
I got some Gillettes. I got some Shicks.
I see at the fitness conference for sure, someone's gonna pull you aside and go, hey, man, I got some roids. What's up? But like
exactly.
But like none of them are like, hey, man, you need to tone down your quads. I got some. You see this trench coat over here? I got a bunch of Gillette razors in there.
Yeah,
sell them to you for $8.
I haven't seen it either. Maybe they're selling them on Amazon, eBay. I don't know.
But it's yeah, that is a hustle. I saw Gary Vee talk about that entrepreneur where you can go basically buy a bunch of stuff at the dollar store and then sell it on eBay for $3 to $7 each on some items. There's probably some validity to that. I just don't know. I feel like that's a CVS Walgreens thing and not a
right.
the pregnancy test because I had to get them when we're finding out we're having a kid, and it's like, why are these behind the case too? And thermostats. I'm like, what? I guess you could flip around and sell them, but I don't know. It's just kind of crazy.
Well, it's it's interesting how they create those security situations. I have allergies. I take a over-the-counter antihistamine. Now I have to sign.
Oh, the
all
card.
this
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. I have to go through the pharmacist. It's ridiculous.
And now you feel like a crackhead because you're like, for real. I'm not. I'm not like.
You have to sign a sheet that says, "I will not make drugs with this."
Right.
It's
that stops
a real person.
That stops exactly. 0 people. Yeah. Good job.
Exactly.
Way to go. Thanks,
lawyers.
Back
to Heisenberg.
Yeah. So all right. So you're doing well at the convention, and Schick comes up to you. Schick gives you a bunch of shit about how good your product is, and where does that go?
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I love reactions like that because
Sure.
it tells me I'm probably doing something right, and I'm probably addressing something that is a consumer problem, right?
Yeah.
Razors are expensive and they wear out way too fast.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's good, and the trade show goes great, and like I said, then Gillette jumps into the subscription service sales. So I start getting calls from the people I met at that show, and this is probably about 3 months later.
Okay.
And just asking me questions, how's my manufacturing and all this, and could I handle a ramp up, and would you be ready to be on the planogram and all that stuff. And realistically, I wasn't. So because I know that it takes money, like I said earlier, I think the magic number for me is like $400,000 for a product line to go national with a retailer.
Yeah.
Now, if you do a good job with that, the rewards are tremendous. All the other retailers are looking at the Nielsen numbers, how many sell. They get access to this database. Says, 2 million 5-hour energy cherries flavor were sold at Walgreens in the first week of October. I mean,
okay.
It's really thorough stuff. So if I did well, then my phone's just going to ring. I'm not going to have to go on term. I'm not going to go through the test period with other companies. I just am in, and the product's selling because it's doing well here.
Yeah.
So those are all things I have to think of, and so I politely say, I'm not quite ready, but I want you to keep me in mind. And that really was the goal of the show, was to just let them know I exist, and people are buying my product directly from me, and it's that those sales are growing.
Yeah.
And so I get my sales from PR. Is you can't spell profit without PR,
Mm-hmm.
right? So PR is a big thing for me, online advertising, and then referrals,
Yeah.
So I do pretty good, and I sometimes flesh it out in my head, do the numbers work if I just stay selling directly to consumers? Is that the thing, or do I take on all this risk and all this overhead and lay out all this money to go even bigger down the line? So that's a constant struggle that I have going on in my head.
That's tough because it not only financially that you have to invest a lot in that, but you also have to go, can we handle that supply? And like you were saying, if something goes wrong, is it going to get reverted back to us, and then we have all this dead product because we try to we try to manufacture too much too quickly.
Yeah, and that just happened to one of my clients. They were on QVC. They sold out their first run in, that you get 7 minutes. They sold out in like 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably about $100,000 worth of product. The product cost like $9.99. The kiss of death, I told them quit there, figure out how much you actually made once everybody's paid and, everything's paid for and all that. And it really wasn't that much. And I said, just drop out now. You were successful. No, they got QVC called them, said they want to reorder 2 more pallets this time, blah, blah, blah. Well, they didn't run them at the same time slot. It wasn't the same group kind of pushing it and all this other stuff. All that stuff came back. So now they've got 2 pallets sitting in their warehouse that did nothing for them. They paid all that money to get it done. And really, they should have just left when they were on top,
Well, yeah, if it's not like a resounding like success, if they're still trying to figure out the cost benefit of going on QVC, probably not a good idea to go back on until like you got a different way of doing that. And in the online marketing world, which this company lives in, is you're kind of talking my area where it's basically when you're doing in QVC, it's the same philosophy. I try to use QVC HSN as like a way to explain online ads to people. And so it's basically what you just said about time. That matters with online advertising and online. You do an email blast. What kind of audience do you have? I did it with an attorney we had, and it's like, oh, let's send your email list is mostly professionals. A lot of them in the legal field. So let's send this at like 7:30 in the morning, because the last one we sent was in the afternoon on like a Wednesday. Let's see if that does it. And open rate was like 80%, which is like
nice.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And so you talk about frequency, when people are going to see it, how many times. For your product, it might have to take 12 times before they go, let me check this out. And then you have to do it, what time of day is that QVC show going to be? And so when you're doing online ads, which it sounds like you're doing a lot of, it's that thing of like, all right, let's day part these from our demographics. All right, younger people, they're probably going to buy this in the afternoons during the workday. Maybe the older crowd, maybe a little bit after work, or maybe the spouse will buy it on the weekend when they do the shopping. I don't know how you figure out your demos and all that stuff.
Right. It definitely varies from client to client. For me and for my shaving products, it varies tremendously. I use the Gemini system. I use the Google system. And you get to a good point there. That is figuring out the right times of day for your demographic. And I've seen, it's like weekends are sometimes terrible because you have all the other companies bidding up pricing on you, right?
Yep.
And so what you would have paid for 25 cents per ad or per click per week or during the week is now, $1 or something on the weekend. And then you don't get anything from it. I get more during the week, and you're right. I think mine's probably early evening that I get a lot of orders, or sometimes early in the morning.
Well, I always tell people
are surfing, at work right before the actual, it hits 9 o'clock,
and you don't want to waste a lot of time trying to figure that out. It's like that's the beauty of the online advertising, is what I talk to a lot of people about. Is like we can get results. Another way to explain the results is, if you played fantasy baseball before and you like stats, you'll be able to really follow this day to day. If you don't, this is going to be hard. This is going to be a stats lesson for a lot of people. But know that, you can get it in front of who you need to get it in front of. Do y'all try to market this towards the ladies?
Absolutely. I have a pink version, and it's just a little sweeter and softer is what we say. It's got a little more soft skin softening ingredients, and that's with the Razor Booster. And I have a great test kitchen, really, and it technically is my kitchen because it's my wife that uses the products. And she loves both products. With the Shave Jelly, I only have one version right now, and it's got a nice scent to it. It's It's pepperminty. It actually does have peppermint oil in it. It's got things like tea tree oil in it and all that. And what's interesting about that shave jelly is it goes on clear and it does not foam up. So all you do is you wet the shaving area, you put it on, you shave, you rinse it off, you're done. It's got
I'm gonna open up one.
Yeah, pre-ingredients, during ingredients, and post-ingredients already in it. So it's kind of like 3 or 4 products all wrapped into one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
it rinses, cleans, non-greasy. And so I just did the soft launch to my customers. I got a really good reception, my current customers. Now I'm going to do the hard national launch. And to me, that's really not, some mega thing. What it means is I'm going to start gearing my online advertising towards pushing this product. Probably going to do a little bit of PR, calling it kind of a shave jelly revolution. And because it is so different than foam. Another thing that people don't realize about foams and creams is because there's all those bubbles, it's moving your whiskers as you're trying to cut them. So you're not really getting the clean, consistent shave that you could. This holds it completely still. I kind of jokingly call it suspended animation. I mean, it just kind of freezes it in place.
Okay.
And so you're actually going to get a consistently close shave with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ladies part is interesting because...
But yeah, back to that. I'm sorry.
The purchase, but
I sell to ladies. It's a fraction of my sales. I really think I need to commit to that to go, but I do address them.
I'll make a case for it because I just had to talk to a client of mine about like, hey, you need to focus on the woman market, not same field as what you're throwing out there. But I was like, why aren't you on Pinterest? And they were like, well, it's a bunch of dudes. And I was like, well, like almost every, like a lot of women are on Pinterest. Like it's something like 80 million or something like that. And so, and then I saw a stat from this guy that used to be called, we use Squarespace as or website builder, content management system. And for anybody listening, fuck your WordPress. No, but I hope your website's not WordPress.
I switched from Squarespace to my WordPress.
Oh, no.
I'm a WordPress guru. So.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Look, we can exist. We can coexist. It's fine.
Yes.
No, they both have different advantages. For e-commerce, I think you were using Woo.
I'm using Woo.
It works a lot better with WordPress.
Look, here's
Shopify's a lot better with Squarespace.
The only thing, my argument was I couldn't have as much design control as I wanted to.
When? How long ago?
With Squarespace. Probably I switched about a year ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because
I wish we met.
12 templates.
I wish we met a while ago, man. We're trying to become specialists in the area. Yeah. There's no Tampa Bay.
But I love they're full featured, and for small, entrepreneurs that are thinking about doing something. Yeah, it's a great way to go. And I probably have 3 clients that are doing that.
Oh yeah.
And I do update their content for them and things like that. But it's very easy system to work.
The Squarespace guru, as he used to be called, I think he used to have like a podcast, and I think he got like a big corporate job that made him like take all the stuff down because he has no videos anymore. He used to show a lot of stuff, and he was talking about Pinterest, and he found some studies like 80% of what women pin to their board they'll buy. And so, maybe your stuff for women is not a dress, or it's not a purse, or like an $800 purse like my wife texted me about yesterday. I was like, if that's your push present, that's sure. Okay. I'll just work more. No, she works hard. She deserves it. But I was saying, like, it didn't click for me. I heard it like a year and a half ago. I read it that a while ago, 2 years ago maybe. And, I got on, we were buying a house, and it didn't click until she was showing the guys that were doing the build out of the kitchen. She's like, no, I want cabinets like these. And she's pulling up Pinterest. I'm like, don't pull that shit up. They're going to think you're a jabroni. Like, and they're like, oh, okay. And I didn't realize it. She'd been thinking about this kind of kitchen for a long time. And that's why I'm kind of big in Pinterest, because if you found the indirect stuff where people are trying to find that greener area, no toxin kind of community, that really crunchy community, and
Yeah, and I'm actually on Pinterest. I
Okay.
just haven't updated anything in a while. I need to start focusing
but
on
they
all
got
that stuff.
ads now. That's what's interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
Well,
Get that vertical banner, man.
really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I haven't.
We'll
been
share
there
nerd
since then,
notes
so-
off air at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's an important point that you make, especially with a product like mine. Even if they're not buying the pink version, they may be buying the gift for their husband, their spouse, their brother.
Yep.
Those kinds of things. You can't ignore that. And women are buyers.
Yes.
They will buy online. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are compared to men, but I bet there's less women but more dollar volume going through internet
yes,
sales.
the purchasing power is crazy. It's
That would be my guess, just based on what my wife does.
the number used to be way smaller. So let's say 10 years ago it used to be a lot more men, and now it's a lot more women numbers wise, but per woman too. So we're seeing it's not saying that, oh, we're going back to the 50s where the housewife did all the shopping. It's just like they're more on top of that kind of stuff. Especially, I think it was like products under $100, and they're on top of that kind of stuff. Amazon priming stuff. That's probably where
I'm
I
an
read
Amazon Prime fiend.
Same.
I love that stuff. I love the fact that I can get stuff sometimes the same day.
Someone told me a book, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna get it right now, and then I'm just gonna have it in a day."
Right.
I was
A
like,
guy's
"I'm not
gonna
gonna
knock
just
on the
sit
door
on
in
that."
5 minutes, and he's gonna have the book.
Yeah, and I was like,
And
"I'm not."
maybe some razors.
You're giving me advice. Yeah, are y'all? So y'all aren't on Amazon, I take it. Don't they have a high price point?
Here's the thing. I'm trying to be on Amazon because
Okay.
my customers ask for it. I accept Amazon payments through Woo.
Yeah,
And
that's a great feature of Woo. by the way.
It really is. And I get a good number. I want to say maybe probably 35 to 40% of my sales
Yeah.
are paid for through Amazon payments. So it was a good move for me. And, they hold it a little longer than the other companies do. I mean,
Yeah.
Stripe is my main one
Yep.
that I love.
Yep.
And I had that via the Squarespace. It's usually there within 48 hours, no problems. But anyway, entrepreneurs that want to sell products need to know this. You're a jewelry maker, whatever. These things come. You got to know when you're going to get paid.
There's VIG. There's VIG on a credit card processor, and you have a merchant processor. I get confused. I can't remember what's the difference. There's like, you have one that's going to take it, and then they take a VIG of the credit card because they don't want to take that. So you could end up paying 5% on every sale.
Right. And but in the old days, you'd have to pay like $500 to a merchant processor,
Right.
and then you'd have all this pain in the butt paperwork and
And
it's so much more simplified. Go ahead.
Take
the 5. I'll take it.
Yeah, and my buddies over at Partially, it's partial.ly, not .com. It's they do flexible payment plans, so they set it up with your WooCommerce, and you could, let's say you sell a package of these, and someone doesn't want to pay whatever amount up front, they can get an option. You can give them the option to change it. And so he was walking me through all the percentages that have to go through that you don't even realize on the other side.
There's so many middlemen that you don't even know.
But it's all automated. It's like,
I want to be one of the middlemen. I just collect as stuff passes through.
Right. Well, man, this went by really fast. Before we close it down, because it's been something like 45 minutes or something like that. What I guess, where can people go to find it? Find your products?
Well, you just go to BladeButter.com, and there you'll find both products. You'll find information. You'll see links to articles, like I've been reviewed by Thrillist.
Oh, nice.
Good housekeeping. Yeah, I like to say that I took a sticky protein bar. I was telling a story downstairs that we created a protein bar that everybody loved. Did we go through this? And our only
do you tell stories? I forget sometimes. I do this to my wife. She hates it. I'm like, wait, do we talk about this? And she's like, do you not remember when we're in the same room? And I'm like, I don't know. I use a lot of the same stories.
The story is I took a sticky protein bar and turned it into a top-ranked shaving product. That always gets somebody's attention. So I was in the protein industry, made a great bar. The only complaint was it was sticking to the insides of wrappers. The wrappers are clear, foil, clear. We didn't want to change the bar because everybody loved it. So we started looking into infusing oil into the inner layer. And so I put these oils through a highly filtered process, and it flew right through the metal and everything. So I discovered an oil, natural oil, that would penetrate metal and protect it from the inside out. So it wasn't good for the sticky protein bar thing because I only need the one layer. But I set this on my shelf and I said, this could be good for something. I just don't know what it is. And so about 2 years later, I ran out of shaving cream, and every time I do a soap and water shave, it's itchy and irritating and burns and all this. So I said, hey, I have that oil. I'll just dip my razor in it. Maybe that'll soften the blow. And I was like, holy crap. This is a really good thing. I need to take this to my formulators and figure out how to make it even better from here. Because I know that, and so I got photos of the oil penetrating the metal and the amount of wear through 25 shaves and all this. So those are on my website too. So you see how it works. Basically, you dip it in there, and it instantly, because of we're using magnetic energy to kind of separate the molecules, it actually magnetizes just enough so that it goes right to the metal. Yeah. And so it's instantly penetrating that metal. And so we made it more than a one-trick pony kind of thing. And so it also, has skin repairing ingredients. It also sanitizes your blade, all with natural ingredients: tea tree oil, aloe, vitamin E, those types of things that people are looking for.
That's awesome, man.
So that was my aha moment with those. And so you can read about that, and I'll eventually make a video about that on the site, but you can read the backstory. And so
infographic,
BladeButter.com.
I'm big into infographics.
Yeah,
I've been
I
obsessing
gotta go on
about
Fiverr and get that. I love Fiverr.
Pictochart. Do that. Get an account on that. Yeah, you could do it if you can make this product. If you can figure out how to use Pictochart.
And so the main thing is I had all these manufacturers that I work with for years. So it's not something I'm creating in my basement. That I'm trying to sell to people. I want them to know that. But everything you see, website, advertising, videos, all that stuff, I created. So I'm pretty proud of that. And I wish it was my full-time gig. That's really my ultimate goal. Yeah. Is to just focus on this full-time. I'm not quite there yet. And, maybe that takes an investor to come in or something like that. And that's something that I'll look into in the near future.
Hey, any investors out there listening?
Yeah, that was a call.
It was a call to arms,
please
guys.
Call me.
Cool, man. Yeah, we're seeing.
I didn't even get to talk about how I didn't make the cut for Shark Tank.
Well,
I went
we'll have
all
you
the
back on, man.
And all that. I didn't make the cut for West Texas Investors Club either. I don't know what the real reason is, but I have a feeling that either they don't want to piss off razor companies that spend a lot of money with those networks.
Possibly.
Or I'm just not that exciting.
Well, you're a white male, and that's a disadvantage now. So that's a major faux pas society-wise. And, casting-wise, now I just know how those casting things go. I have a lot of friends that do that, and I'm like, oh, secretly casting's the most racist thing, because it'll be like, all right, we're doing commercials for Bank of America. We need a black dude. We need an Asian couple. We need Indian guy, professional-looking Indian guy, and we need like one white guy out in the background and a mom with a kid. And you're like, okay, you're going for diversity, but the casting call is the most racist shit of all time. Right, so, right. But we'll definitely have you back on, man. I want to hear those stories, man.
That sounds great. Yeah, I got a bunch of them. Like I said, I've made a lot of mistakes. So if I can help anybody out there not to make those same mistakes, that's always great.
Hit them up. Hit them up, man. All right. Well, yeah, I'm trying to get out of town so I don't hit a dickload of traffic going to Orlando for a gig tonight, but
you're screwed, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's 3:30.
I know. Well, at least the Florida.
No, we love that little jaunt too. That's what's so nice about living in this area. You can be pretty much anywhere within a couple hours.
Yeah, it could be a lot quicker with a light rail. Anyway, all right, appreciate it, man, and we'll definitely have you back on again.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.